In life, we are in one of three phases. We're either in our infancy stage, which is our beginning stage of life. We're in our growth phase, which is the middle phase of our life. Or we're in what I call the maturity phase of our life. The infancy stage takes place between 1 and 30. And your growth phase is between 30 and 50. And then your maturity phase is 50 and beyond. Well, briefly, I'd like to talk to you about the infancy stage. This is the stage whereby you have your first experiences of everything. Your first experiences of your parents, friends, and your family. This is where you have your first experiences of life, and you are become accustomed to a certain environment. This is where you learn to adapt to the things in your environment, where you learn the traits and the ways of the tribe in which you've been born into. But this is also the place where the most damage takes place in a young person's life. This is also the stage where many of us can stay hooked, or let's say encumbered for many years, because we don't have the tools, we don't have the skills in which to navigate this part of our life. We've been taught everything from others. We've been given rules for living, what to do and what not to do. We've been given, even our very faith is given to us during the infancy phase of our life. We're told which religious faction we're going to partake of and participate in. We're given rules from which we can live our lives, or which we are instructed to live by. And if we violate those rules, we'll be chastised, we'll be ostracized, or we will definitely be isolated within the community. Now, for most people, as I said earlier, they get stuck in this phase of their life. Why, you ask? Because it is during this phase of your life when you are the most vulnerable. It is during this phase of your life when you're the most impressionable. It is during this phase of your life where you're making no decisions about who you are as a being. You're making no decisions about what you believe and what you do not believe. So therefore, you're easily persuadable. It's easy to indoctrinate you into ideas and ideologies that you have no sense of where they come from, and you definitely have no real understanding of how they operate and how they function within a greater society. That's why I say, in the infancy stage, which is the most precious stage of your life, yet the most vulnerable stage of your life can go awry from the beginning, which means you have no real opportunity to get a head start on this thing called life. Now, for most children, they find themselves stuck and they're not certain why. I don't care if it's something as simple as poverty, and which is not simple, by the way. It's something that is developed in that mindset that I can only achieve a certain status in my life because of the environment in which I grew up in. Now, there are those few, and they're rare, that actually are able to overcome that kind of thinking, and they're able to catapult themselves into a successful life, even beyond their circumstances and their environment. But there are also those who suffer from both psychological, emotional, physical, psychological, emotional, and detriment and harm. And they go their entire life struggling, trying to find their way out of this state of awareness in which they've been born into and which has been permanently sealed in their consciousness. I like to encourage you and to show you a way out, a way in which you can take control of these things and take control of your life. Stay tuned as I go through this series. Again, this is the infancy stage. It's just the beginning.